Happy Friday, Fan Clan. More importantly, though, happy Paradox Rift release day. This is the final main series Pokemon set that is going to be releasing in 2023. We have had a billion releases so far this year. Well, just over 1 billion. It's been madness. I hope they slow it down next year. It's too much. That we talked about that in a different video. We're not going to talk about that in this video. We're going to talk about pull rates and how Pokemon nerfed pull rates on us. It's very, very interesting. Before we get into that, a couple days ago, I recorded my master set video for Paradox Rift. So right here is the completed master set of Paradox Rift, and this is yours. One of you gets to win one of this, or one of you gets to win this. This is going to one lucky subscriber. That giveaway is live right now. So if you haven't entered yet, go back, watch the video I posted 2 days ago where I talk about the Paradox Rift Master Set. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and then leave a like and a comment on that video. Don't do that until after this video is over. This video is going to be chocked full of really important information as you move forward with your collecting budget involving Paradox Rift, what you all want to look to buy. So a couple days ago, go back to that video. I will also post a link in the description to make it a little bit easier to find, but make sure you're subscribed. Go back, leave a like and a comment on that video. Boom, you are entered. We are going to announce the winner next week, Friday. So you have 6 days basically to get your entry in, to get entered to win the Fanny Master Set of Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift, beautiful set, officially came out today. Prices are already all over the place, and we'll talk about that next week. But every release day of a new set, I like to go over pull rate data for that new set. And for the most part, it's been very consistent throughout the Scarlet and Violet block. Every generation, usually pull rates stay very consistent as far as rarities go. So for like the Sword and Shield generation, for example, we had pull rates that stayed consistent basically from the beginning to the end. Obviously, with Brilliant Stars, we got introduced to the Trainer Gallery, and then with Astral Radiance, we got introduced to Radiant cards. That helped the pull rates quite a bit, but you still got the same amount of full arts, the same amount of regular arts, the same amount of rainbow rares and secret rares pretty much per set all the way through from Sword and Shield base all the way up until Silver Tempest. It was very consistent throughout the entirety of Sword and Shield, and then got better as we added additional rarities in there. And Scarlet and Violet started out really, really strong. We started out getting easier pull rates on pretty much everything. Your secret rares, your big hitters like the special illustration rares, you were getting basically 2 per box, or you would get 1 secret rare or 1 special illustration rare and 1 hyper rare per box. And that continued all the way up to Obsidian Flames. And then we had the release of 151. 151 pull rates went a little bit backwards, much more comparable to like Scarlet and Violet, Paldea Evolve, sets like that. It wasn't as good as what we saw from like Crown Zenith, for example. But for this set, Paradox Rift, we got nerfed pull rates. I mean, something has changed, and this is the first time in the middle of a generation that pull rates have changed. And we're going to go over things right now. So I've got all the data compiled. This is 66 booster boxes worth of data. So what I did is I calculated 66 booster boxes, how many packs it takes basically to pull each Pokemon card individually. Now, before we jump into things, I do want to say that my assumption and my thought process is that, first of all, 66 booster boxes is not a good amount of packs that you can get accurate pull rate data. You need like 100,000 plus packs in order to get pull rate data compiled for individual cards. I do think 66 booster boxes, 2,000 packs, 1,500 packs, somewhere around there, is a good indicator of what pull rates look like based off of rarity. Now, we've seen Pokemon cards get made in the past. We know they're cut on sheets. They're printed a certain amount. So I believe that Pokemon prints each rarity a certain amount of times. So each Frostlass EX gets printed X amount of times. It'll be the same as the amount of Armoroge EXs, the same as the amount of Garchomp EXs based off of that rarity. So I believe there is an equal amount of each cards that are in existence based off of rarity. So you're going to see more double rares printed. You're going to see a little bit less of the ultra rares printed. But I do believe that each individual card gets printed the same amount of time based off of its rarity. So I do think that this is important data to kind of analyze based off of rarity, but I don't think it's good pull rate data to try and make a basis or a claim based off of individual cards. I think that this will give you a start to something like that, but you're going to need well over 100,000 packs because the sample size needs to be astronomical when you consider the amount of packs that are constantly being produced and opened really on a daily basis. So I just wanted to throw that caveat out there because I do think that's important, but what is going to be even more important is the results that we're we're going to look at the bottom. And then I did copy over Paldea Evolve's pull rate data, so that way we could kind of compare the two, because I compared this set originally to like what we saw from Paldea Evolved with the amount of rarity, with the amount of individual cards in each rarity. So I kind of compared it to that. It was a little bit more difficult to master this set. It took about 1,500 packs, which is more than it took for basically any set outside of Paldea Evolved. Obsidian Flames, for example, took only about 250, 300 packs. Obsidian Flames, minuscule compared to this set. So it is very interesting to see how much pull rates have been nerfed, and we're going to talk about that, like I said, in just a few minutes here. But let's go over each card individually here. We've got the double rares listed first on the left-hand side there. There's not really any standouts. We've talked about batching issues before. I didn't really get that vibe with Paradox Rift. There's no double bangers in this set. I know there were a couple comments that say, oh, I saw a double banger pulled. I saw a double banger open from this set. I have not witnessed anything. So if you have, awesome. I think that those are more outliers, because I opened up 66 booster boxes and didn't get a single double banger. So if they do exist, they are very, very few and far between, and I would assume that's more of an error or more of a mistake than the actual reality, because I don't think you're going to get a double banger if you go to the store and you buy booster packs of Paradox Rift. It just seems like double bangers got taken care of altogether, and that's interesting because that kind of points more towards seeding when it comes to compiling these booster boxes together, these booster packs together. It's all very interesting as we move forward in the Scarlet and Violet generation, but nothing that really stands out. The lowest EX that we pulled, the lowest regular art EX, was Hoopa, which isn't an ultra competitive card by any means, so it's more of just a bulk EX, and that was the one that we pulled the least of. Where the one that we pulled the most of was Iron Valiant EX, which does have some potential in the competitive field, not the most competitive card, but does have some potential, and that's the one that we pulled the most of. So nothing that's really weird as far as batching goes or competitive cards. I guess we did only pull 11 Serena, so that's slightly less than that 12 Hoopa number, but everything else for the most part we pulled anywhere between 18 and 20, 22 copies of each double rare. Outside of that, Iron Valiant, which we pulled 30 of, Mousehold we pulled 19, Bombardier we pulled 17. You can kind of go over these, but for the most part, everything is going to be a pull rate of roughly 1 out of every 100, 125, maybe 150 packs. If we look at the full art ultra rares, pretty much the same thing. Nothing that really stands out as far as outliers go. When it comes to just the Pokemon, now I do believe full art trainer cards have the same pull rates as Pokemon. They named them as the same rarity as ultra rares for a reason. I think those are printed the same amount, but nothing that really stands out. We pulled 8 Frostlass. There's a lot of those full art Terra cards in here. I think there's 5 in this set. The Frostlass EX we pulled 8 of. The Armoroge we pulled 6 of. Garchomp we pulled 3 of, so that was a little bit lower. Serena we pulled 4. Golisopod we pulled 8. The Tapu Koko we pulled 3. Iron Hands, probably one of the more competitive cards in the set, we pulled 7 of. Cofagrigus we pulled 5 of. Iron Valiant we pulled 4 of. Hoopa EX, now we didn't pull many when it came to the regular arts, but we pulled quite a few when it came to the full arts. That was our second most full art card that we pulled, and our first most full art Pokemon that we pulled, 10 of those, so that's one of those full art Terra cards right there. Same thing with Toxtricity, another full art Terra card right there. We pulled 6 of those. The Sandy Shocks EX we pulled 6 of. Roaring Moon we pulled 5 of. I'm not going to go through all of these. I shouldn't go through all of these. You guys can look at the data yourself. We pulled 3 of the Golden Gold. Let me get my face out of the way. Mousehold we pulled 6 of. Bombardier we pulled 6 of. If you look at the full art trainers, the full art supporters at the bottom here, again, nothing that really stands out except for the Sada. We only pulled 2 of the Sada, and we only pulled 2 of the Norman. Now, Norman doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Sada makes a little bit more sense. It is a little bit more playable than a lot of the other cards, but Norman is basically one of those full art trainers that's probably going to be fairly inexpensive in price. We only pulled 2 of those, but we did pull 12 of the Larry, so that was the only one that we pulled double digits. Chantel we pulled 9 of, so that was close to that. But again, Turo and Norman, we only pulled 2 each of those. If we look at the illustration rares on the other side over here, for the most part, nothing that really stands out, but there were a couple that took us a very long time to pull. We got to a point where we had almost hit that 1,500 pack total, and we were missing 2 cards, and both of those were illustration rares. Now, Pokemon has nerfed the pull rates on illustration rares a little bit, but not as much as what you'll see from the special illustration rare. You're not guaranteed to get 3 illustration rares per booster box anymore, like we've seen with past sets, but I don't want to point to batching or anything like that. Obviously, it was a little weird that we went 1,500 packs without pulling a Wimpod and without pulling a Garbodor when you're getting between 2 and 3 illustration rares per booster box. So you're going 40 booster boxes in basically before you even pull those 2 cards, which is pretty insane. But we did pull 6 Crustle, we pulled 3 Dottler. As far as outliers go, we did pull 7 Mantike, we pulled 7 Espethra, we pulled 7 Minior, we pulled 8 Evital, 9 Slitherwing. The one that we pulled the most was the Aegislash over here, which we pulled 13 of. But again, only 1 Garbodor and only 1 Wimpod, which is a little weird. Now, we did open up 500 packs on Tuesday's stream, and we pulled a couple of Wimpods in there, and we pulled 1 Garbodor in there as well. So that sample size was not included in this. That was obviously a couple of cases. So we pulled much. I mean, a lot of it comes down to luck as well. So I don't want to point to any batching. Like I said, this is the first set where I didn't really feel like batching was a big thing. There wasn't a single booster box that I opened up that had duplicates or multiples of the ultra rares. In a lot of packs in the set, there were times where I got 2 or even a couple boxes where I got 3 of the same regular art in a booster box. We didn't have anything like that this time, which was much, much different. If we look at the special illustration rares, everything we pulled double copies of. The Golden Go we pulled 2 of. The Parasol Lady we pulled 2 of. And the Turo we pulled 2 of. The Turo was the last one that we needed. I mean, it took us like 1,400 packs to pull the Turo. We opened up quite a few before our stream, and then even in our 500 pack stream on Tuesday, our break, we didn't pull any Turo there either. So that was a little bit weird, but everything else we pulled multiple copies of. The Garchomp EX was the one that we pulled the most. We had 7 of those. Iron Valiant we had 5 of. Rika we pulled 4 of, and you can kind of go through those as you see fit, but the numbers are much, much lower than you would expect out of a 66 booster box sample size. So we'll go over that in a second here. If we look at the hyper rares real quick, we pulled at least 2 copies of every single one, and most of them we pulled at least 3 copies of. Roaring Moon was the only one that we pulled double copies of. We had 5 Garchomps, 7 of the gold Iron Valiant, 2 of the Roaring Moon, 6 of the gold Beach Quartz, 4 of the Counter Catchers, 6 gold Luxurious Capes, and then 3 gold Reversal Energy. So if we break this down, we opened up 2,376 packs. Again, a good sample size in my opinion as far as rarity pull rates go. Not a good sample size for individual cards, but that's 66 booster boxes. Your average hit per booster box is 11.85. So if we compare that to Paldea Evolved, average hits per booster box in Paldea Evolved was 12.27. So very close. You're averaging basically about half of a card less in Paradox Rift than what you did in Paldea Evolved. So you're still getting a good amount of hits per booster box. You're going to get anywhere between 11 to 13. Every once in a while you might get 10. Every once in a while you might get 14. But for the most part, it's going to fall in that 11 to 13 category right there. Now, if we break down the actual rarities, the difference here is basically made up by the amount of double rares that you're going to be getting. Those regular art EXs is basically 1 out of every 7 booster packs. So your regular art EXs, you get 5.41 per booster box. When you compare that to Paldea Evolved, if you look right here, 4.86. So you're getting about 0.6 more when it comes to regular art EXs in Paradox Rift than what you had in Paldea Evolved. Paradox Rift, and I noticed this as I was opening up, and you probably have noticed this as well, you're going to be getting anywhere between 5 and 6 regular art EXs. With the majority of the time, it's going to be like, whoa, I got 6 regular art EXs in this box. That didn't happen with a lot of these other sets. Scarlet and Violet, Paldea Evolved, even Obsidian Flames, you would get 4, maybe 5 in a booster box. Here, you're almost up an entire half of a card right there, looking at 5 or 6 regular arts in a booster box, which is 1 out of every 7 booster packs, as opposed to Paldea Evolved, which was 4.86 out of every booster box. Ultra rares, those full arts, really not a change at all. 2.37 is what we got in Paldea Evolved. In this set, you're looking at 2.38, so basically the same thing. 1 out of every 15 packs. Some booster boxes, you'll get 2 full art Pokemon and 1 full art trainer. You might get 3 full art Pokemon. You might get 1 full art Pokemon and 2 full art trainers, or you just might get 1 full art Pokemon and 1 full art trainer, but it's 2.38 per booster box. If we look at illustration rares, this is where you start losing a little bit. When I opened up Paldea Evolved, we had a fairly large sample size, and every single box had 3 illustration rares. It wasn't until Obsidian Flames that illustration rares started going down a little bit. Now, there was a lot less illustration rares in Obsidian Flames, so I kind of chalked it up to just the fact that availability and quantity wasn't there. For the most part, I would say 75-80% of the boxes that we opened up in Obsidian Flames did have 3 illustration rares. However, with Paradox Rift, many boxes did not have 3 illustration rares, and a lot of it kind of broke down to how many gold or special illustration rares you got. You can kind of look over that data in yesterday's video where I showcased 20 booster boxes worth of hits, and you can kind of line up how different it is in Paradox Rift than what we've seen in the past. So you're only getting about 2.5 2.79 illustration rares per booster box. So you should get 3, but don't be surprised if you only get 2. You're looking at about 1 out of every 13 packs for illustration rares, and there's quite a few of them in this set. That's why it'll be very interesting to watch pricing over the next week or so. I already noticed that Groudon starting to go up a little bit in price earlier today. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that moving forward. When it comes to special illustration rares, this is where it gets bad. You went from getting 1.31 per booster box in Paldea Evolved to all of a sudden in this set, you're only getting 0.77. And this is the big difference right here. This is where that extra double rares that you're getting is made up. And this makes mastering a set much more difficult. And it could impact the pricing scheme on a lot of these special illustration rares, because all of a sudden you're looking at a pull rate. If you pull perfectly, you're going to have to open up 700 packs to pull all special illustration rares. So each individual special illustration rare is going to take roughly 700 packs in order to get special illustration rares 0.77 as opposed to 1.31. So that's almost a 60% drop basically in how many special illustration rares you're getting per booster box. That's a huge difference when you're opening up booster boxes and you're expecting to get, if you add these two numbers together, 1.31 and 0.73, you're expecting to get 2 of those big secret rares per booster box, and now all of a sudden you're expecting to get basically 1, maybe 2, but for just 1 for the most part. I mean, you're either going to get a special illustration rare or a hyper rare or a gold card, but rarely will you get 1 of each, or rarely will you get 2 special illustration rares. We did have one box that had, or a couple boxes that had 2 special illustration rares. We did have a couple boxes that had 2 gold cards and no special illustration rares, but the majority of our boxes had 1 or the other, and this is where the big difference is. This is a really big deal, losing about 0.6 when it comes to this rarity, the special illustration, or 1 out of every 47 packs, as opposed to, the 1 out of every 25 packs that it was before. Average hyper rares, like I just said, 0.5, so you got to open up 2 booster boxes to get 1 of those gold cards, as opposed to before, where your average hyper rares was 0.73 per booster box. So I don't know why the change happened, but if we're comparing this to Paradox Rift, it's very similar in size. For the most part, there's a couple areas where you get a couple more cards. I think regular arts, ultra rares have a couple more cards in this set than they did in Paradox Rift, or in Paldea Evolved. And in Paldea Evolved, you have a couple more special illustration rares, a couple more illustration rares than what Paradox Rift has. But you are losing basically a full card when it comes to that higher end secret rare. And it's different now because Pokemon calls everything a secret rare, right? Like your illustration rares are secret rares, your full arts are secret rares, your ultra rares are secret rares. The only ones that are not secret rares are your double rares. Everything else is basically considered a secret rare. But if we break it down to just those big time secret rares, your special illustration rares and your hyper rares, you're more likely to pull only 1 per booster box now than what we had before, which was 2. So I don't know exactly why the change happened, but it could play a huge impact moving forward if this is what we can expect from the rest of the Scarlet and Violet generation. A lot of people were saying pull rates were too easy. This definitely changes things moving forward. Even though it seems like a slim change, this could impact pricing moving forward. It could impact a lot moving forward. So definitely food for thought, some information that I really wanted to share with you guys as you make your decisions moving forward with your collecting budget when it comes to what you want to do with Paradox Rift. So lots of cool cards, don't get me wrong, I love the set, but pull rates are definitely different than what we've experienced throughout the Scarlet and Violet generation so far, and it started here with Paradox Rift. So very interesting information. I hope you like the content. If you do, please hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, get the information out there. Pull rates definitely nerfed on this one. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to me ramble for 20 minutes. I really appreciate you guys. We'll be back on Sunday, hopefully with another video. Until next time, peace!